Hi everyone, how you doing? Welcome to episode 24 of Minecraft Stoneblock. I am Mark and I have been busy over the last day or so doing some upgrades around the base. And I want to run through those quickly before we get to today's projects to give you an idea of what I've been working on. The first thing I did was we had this barrel of liquid experience which has just been sitting here. We actually have two. And I've gone ahead and connected that up to an ender tank. And ender tanks work just like ender chests. They give us access to one inventory of liquid from several locations. Any place we have a matching ender tank, we're going to have a tank of liquid XP. And in a second, I'll show you exactly where that is. Back here in our, or next to our wither farm, I've also created just another mob grinder. This one is much bigger. You can see it runs this whole area. And the main reason I did that was because I've been leveling up some tools, including this nice Supremium crossbow, which does a fair bit of damage. And I've leveled up my main sword quite a bit as well. So it is doing some pretty good damage for us. And the reason I'm doing this is because I am going to head over to kill the Ender Dragon sometime soon. In addition to the crossbow, I went ahead and made some bolts to go with it, and those are doing some pretty good damage too. Unfortunately, there's no easy way to level these up, but I can level up the weapons. Both the this is a standard mechanical user setup that we've used before. I've gone ahead and added some upgrades. And, you know, upgrades require some grid power, so I've actually created a whole grid power network using some water mills, which are really easy to set up, and I'll show you those quickly on the way to another site. So to use this, all you do is you stick the weapon in here, you turn off the lights, and this is generating quite a few monsters because it is so much bigger than the other mob grinders. And this basically sits here and kills some monsters, and experience goes up, and when we get some modifiers, we add some modifiers. I'm pretty happy with where all my weapons are. The crossbow, I don't even think I have a modifier on there, but there's nothing really I can add to this that's going to benefit me. And I'm just going to kill off those monsters in there real quick. You can see that sword is pretty much one-hitting everything. I'm leaving the light on in there for now because I don't really care about leveling these anymore at the moment. So, if we go back across our base, you recall that we were pumping Essence of Knowledge out of our Magma Crucible into our Energetic Infuser, which has this Flux Reconstruction mod on it. And that just lets us use Essence of Knowledge to repair our tools. And it works pretty well, but I got tired of going back and forth and manually feeding solidified XP into the Magma Crucible, and I don't really care if that's completed. So I came back here, and here is our Ender Tank, which is storing liquid XP. Unfortunately, liquid XP is not Essence of Knowledge. So I had to build a little system using the Fluid Dictionary Converter, which basically these fluids are functionally equivalent, but they just have a different OR dictionary entry. And so this Fluid Dictionary Converter basically takes one, converts it to another, and that's all it does. I don't even think it uses energy. Nope. So I've just set this up so we're drawing liquid XP from our Ender Tank. We're pumping it into the Fluid Dictionary Converter, and we're pumping it out and up into our Energetic Infuser. So we essentially have infinite Essence of Knowledge. Whew! So, what else have I done? I have gone ahead and set up an atomic reconstructor. I needed a couple of the base materials from Actually Additions, so I set this up. It's pulling power from behind there. And I have a wooden plate here that activates it whenever anything falls on it, which is a pretty basic and simple setup. I'm not doing a whole lot with actually additions. I really just needed a couple blocks of, I think it was void crystal for some project. I've also gone ahead and created the extreme crafting table, which is, of course, a quest. And speaking of quests, I have done a couple. There's the extreme crafting table. In power generation, I went ahead and made a whole bunch of solar panels while I was waiting for tools to level up. I also have created our tier 2 solar array, and we have our complete reactor. I had just had to make some blocks and put them in my inventory to finish that because we already have our reactor set up. So, we will at some point have a bunch of disappointing chests to open as usual. I have also done some fusion crafting setup, which is what I'm going to show you next. So back in a minute when we're down at the other end of the base. I mentioned that I had set up a bunch of grid power, and here it is. We are producing 106 grid power, which is way more than we need. Water mills are cheap. They're easy to set up. So I just set up a bunch, and really I'm probably not going to do anything else with this room because there's nothing else to do there really. So if we look at our giant power sphere, we are over 2% now, and we are gaining 44k RF per tick, which is not awful actually. So I'll show you a couple things that I've added to give us some more power, but I wanted to come back here quickly and show you this is a fusion crafting setup. Fusion crafting, you basically have a bunch of injectors on the sides that you put items in, and then you have this core in the center where you put the item that you're crafting. And that's what you use to make some of the Draconic Evolution advanced items, and we may or may not get to doing some of that today. The first thing I actually want to do with this is upgrade these crafting injectors to the Wyvern crafting injectors. And if we look at the recipe for that, if I can spell it, the Wyvern injectors, uses the basic tier crafters. And so we need a basic fusion injector, and that goes in the core. And then we need all these components that go into the injectors around the outside. And once we set all that up, we get a nice special effect, and we end up with a Wyvern level crafting injector, which we can then use to upgrade all of these. Yeah, we can do that one by one for all of these. So that is something that we will probably, in fact, why don't we just do that right now? We need some diamonds. I think we need 4. And we need some draconium. I think we just need 1 block of draconium, and we need some wyvern cores. Let me look real quickly at this again. We need 2 draconic cores and 1 wyvern core. So there's a wyvern core and draconic. I think we probably can make those. So I'm just going to make 2 quickly. And we need a basic injector to go in the middle. So I have set up auto crafting for this because I was making a bunch, and I set up auto crafting for like everything. So the first thing we do is we stick all these items around the outside. Is it shift? Yeah. These have single and multi-item mode, so if I switch all these to single item mode, I should just be able to do... And just to show, these have the highest level Ender IO energy conduits on them. And I don't remember how much energy they transfer, but it is a lot. And they each have their own fusion flux plug, or flux point, excuse me, that's feeding them energy from our power ball. So, same setup on both sides. So now, I believe all I need to do is stick that in there. Oh, I have to hit start, and we get the cool animation of energy just pouring into this. And real quick, yeah, this is using 400 RF per tick. And as you can see, this goes faster and faster, and eventually it's going to absorb all those components. And voila, we have a Wyvern fusion crafting injector. So that is how fusion crafting works, and I'm not going to sit here and do all these, because what I have to do now is take this injector that we just made, replace one of these on the outside, and then do the whole process again. And we have to do that 8 times to replace all of these with the upgraded versions. So let me take a quick look at my list and mark off the stuff I've covered, because I have a lot of stuff to cover today. So I'll be back in a second. Alright, I am down in our auto crafting room, and I've added a bunch of redstone furnaces here. And I did this because I noticed that redstone furnaces were kind of a bottleneck. We were having a lot of... We had one redstone furnace over here, which is here, and it was doing a lot of different recipes. And this is a pretty fast furnace. I mean, it's upgraded fully, but it was still taking a fair amount of time to get our processing done. Especially because I was doing some huge jobs with glass to do the solar panels that I'm going to show you. And I mean, I was doing thousands of glass, and it was just taking way too long. So this is basically an array of redstone furnaces. They are all, I think, fully upgraded, and they are all connected to our standard sort of ME interface plus chest plus Ender IO conduit setup to give us plenty of recipes. You can see these are all the recipes that we can make with redstone furnaces. And I added a second interface just so we could expand, because we were kind of running low. This is completely full. And then we have a chest, which is getting our inputs or our outputs from our furnaces and pumping them back into our A2 system. So the main thing here is this is extracting, and it's doing it in round robin fashion, which means it's going to pull any material that comes in here to get smelted out, and it's going to spread it evenly across all of the furnaces we have up there. So this is basically doing parallel processing, and it's running quite a bit faster now. I'm probably going to end up doing the same thing for pulverizers, because they're sort of the other side of the bottleneck that we have. Over here, I don't know if you remember, but a couple episodes ago, I set up a Ender IO chest that feeds back to our loot bag storage over by the mob farm. And that is on these green chests. And I was getting a bunch of loot bags stuck in our A2 system. If we look now, we should have... Well, that's interesting. We have some in here. Did I not put these in? I did not. That's why they're there. So we were getting a bunch of loot bags stuck in our A2 system because they were just, from mobs that I killed. And so I went ahead and added this return pipe to send those loot bags back to the loot bag storage. So all our loot bags, except that patient bag, which I haven't dealt with yet, are back in our mob farm loot bag storage, which can effectively hold infinite bags. The other thing I set up is this is just an import bus with a couple speed upgrades in it, and it's on a new Ender chest, which is the next thing I want to show you. And to show you, I'm going to head over to the mining dimension. Okay, we are in the mining dimension, and I have done a little bit of rearranging here. I moved our two miners, our tier 1 and our tier 2 miner, and really what I've done here is just set them up in a position where if we decide to upgrade these to the max size void ore miners, they will be in a chunk and, chunk loaded properly, and I won't have to move I won't have to move the holes below them or anything like that to get them up and running. And I ran the pipe up really high just so I could build underneath it. So that's really just a rearrangement. The other thing I built is this tier 6 solar panels from Solar Flux Reborn. And I went ahead and built 6 of these. And again, these are using the highest value Ender IO conduits for energy. And I actually have a couple extras there. I think I was going to build 3 more. But these are producing 12,000 FE per tick, which is 12,000 RF. I'm almost sure that's true. I'm almost sure that they're identical as far as units. So that is a lot of power coming out of this little box. This little box took a lot of crafting, though. Like if we look at our crafting, if we look at the crafting for a tier 6 panel, if we just want to do 1, you can see there's almost 2,000 sand, which all gets turned to glass, which was the bottleneck that I was facing. And there's a lot of materials here. So crafting these is quite expensive, which is why I stopped crafting them, because I almost ran out of sand, actually. So over here we have our 2 environmental tech solar panels. This is the old one that we had, and it's producing 550 more or less FE per tick. Not bad. Here's the tier 2, and one of the things about these solar arrays is you can use any solar cells in them. So these are using the sort of level 1 solar cells, even though it's a level 2 array controller, and it is producing 3K FE per tick. So this larger structure is producing a quarter of what this one is. So I'm not sure how I feel about the trade-offs there. These are obviously much smaller, but they are pretty expensive to build. And this one takes the crystals that come out of the miners. If we look at iridium, we have 80 crystals, so we're getting a good number now. In fact, I could probably make some iridium solar cells and upgrade this to the tier 2 solar cells, and that would increase its output. But, for now, we have plenty of power, and all it's doing is really filling our sphere. So, the next thing I want to look at is this Botanic Miner. And the Botanic Miner has really gone nuts for us. It has literally filled a medium storage crate. And that's a lot of stuff, but it's not producing a ton of any single item. I don't think there's a full stack of anything in here. So rather than send all of this stuff to storage drawers, I am going to send this straight to our AE system. We have plenty of storage in our AE system, and if you recall when I was down in the basement of the basement of the basement in our base, there was a storage chest like this, or an ender chest like this with the green, yellow, green setup that had an import bus connected to it. So all I'm going to do here is I'm going to make this extract always active, and this insert as usual, and this is going to start pulling all the stuff out of this chest and sending it straight over to our A2 system. So if I look at some of this, like you can see it's sending over a ton of different kind of woods that we haven't had before. If I look at wood now, you can see it's all showing up here very quickly. And yeah, it's a lot of entries in our AE2 system. It's not a lot of stuff, and we have plenty of room. So I think this is a better method than what we were doing before. And the one thing I want to make sure of is that, yeah, it is. It can pull from both tabs of this medium storage crate. there are 2 tabs here, which is how these giant crates work. So I'm going to let this run and just sort of suck everything out of the storage crate, and then I can just leave this run, and all that material will go into our A2 system. So I think that is everything that I've done between episodes. So the next thing I want to take a look at is some personal upgrades for me. Our Supremium armor, it does fine for us around the base in particular, but there are better options for fighting the End Dragon, which is one of the things I want to do. And one of those options is Wyvern armor. And Wyvern armor isn't particularly hard to make. I have gone ahead. I have, it's these Wyvern cores and these Wyvern energy cores, and it's a set of diamond armor along with some Draconium. So I am going to go ahead and make all this. And I think I should just be able to make it because I did pre-plan this a bit. And you can see that it instantly charges up energy-wise because we have wireless charging from our Flux network. And that just transfers so fast. So, there is our full set of Wyvern armor, which is another quest. And if I do that, there's our Wyvern armor. But the one thing that Wyvern armor doesn't give us is it doesn't give us flight. So that is something I definitely want to fix. So the way to fix that is with an angel ring. And I think I've got everything I need to make this. And I think I'm going to make, I don't know if I want to make the full set, or this armor is pretty gaudy, if you will. I can decide when I get there. There's basically 6 finished angel rings that have different appearances. I think I might just make the plain one. So the key ingredients here are we need some lassos, and we need a ring that is crafted from lesser ingredients. And so the first ring we need to make is the ring of the chicken, or the chicken wing ring. And I think I have everything I need to make this, because I did go around and collect tediously all of the lassos that we need. There is our chicken lasso, so we put this in here, and that gives us a very minor flight capability, which I'm not even going to bother demonstrating because we're not going to use it at all. So we go back to the angel ring, and we need the ring of the flying squid, and that, again, pretty easy to make. It's just ender pearls, black dye, and a lasso with a squid in it, plus the ring that we just made. So I have a lasso with a squid in it, and we can upgrade that ring. And finally, we can make our angel ring. And I think I am just going to make the transparent one. And again, lasso. We have the golden lasso with the bat, which was really tedious to get. And we have the cursed lasso with the ghast in it, which gives us our angel ring. And recall, we're making like 132 grid power, I think. So we have plenty of grid power to keep us running. Yeah, it's we're only using 9 of 106. So if I go to our baubles menu and stick our angel ring on, we have flight again. And it feels maybe not quite as fast as the Supremium armor flight, but that's fine. So I think with this, we should pretty much be able to go take care of the Ender Dragon. I haven't upgraded any of the Wyvern armor. So I don't know. Let's see, what does this give us? It's 3, 8, 3, 11, 17, 20 armor. And this is 5, 9. Well, this is more armor, actually. So the Supremium does give us more armor, but it doesn't have the absorption shield that this gives us. Oh, you can just look at it. Yeah, 26 versus 20. So this gives us an absorption shield, which you can see down in the bottom left, which absorbs hits. I don't think, honestly, we're going to need it to take on the End Dragon, but it's nice to have. And I think we're about ready to go do that. I don't think I'm going to do it today because I want to make sure I have all my ducks in a row. Specifically, one thing I want to make sure of is to make sure that I have a way to and from the end, which I don't have yet. And I do have a way back because I have a dislocator, which I made. Dislocators are just an item that you bind to a specific location and then you can go elsewhere and you right click and it pops you back to that location. So this has a bunch of uses left on it, 14 uses left, which is plenty for what we need to do. So that part is done. We have our crossbow, which I'm going to use to actually kill the dragon. We are going to take a bunch of bottles because one of the things we want to do while we're over there is get, I think it's Dragon's Breath. Yeah. We need to get Dragon's Breath for some crafting. And we need to get, we're going to get the Dragon's Heart, obviously, but we're also going to get, oh, there's another bottle. I think it might be, no, it's not Ender Air. There's another bottle you get from just hitting, right-clicking in the air in the end. But the other thing I need to do is I need to make an end portal, which should be pretty easy. I have enough end portal blocks to make one. I just need to find a space to put that down and, set it up. And I want to put that, I'll probably put that out in our fusion crafting area. So I think the last thing I want to do today is go ahead and open, I'm going to collect all these rewards that we have and open those and see if we get anything useful. As you know, we've had really awesome luck at this. And by awesome luck, I mean awful luck. So I'm going to go ahead and grab all these, and when I have them all, I will show you what we get from opening them. Okay, so we have 5, 10, 11 chests to open. Let's see if we get some good stuff. Tier 3 Chance Pendant, some mana lenses, some food, which isn't bad, Flux Ducks, upgrades. So we've seen all this before, haven't we? Some more upgrades, yet some more upgrades, some Yellowite ore, food, obsidian, and our final chance to get something good, a diamond furnace. So our luck continues to hold. We are just so awesome at opening loot chests and getting great rewards. And, it is what it is. You can't always get what you want. Thanks for watching the episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, consider leaving a like, subscribing, and hitting the notification bell to keep up with the channel. It really does help. And leave me a comment if you have some thoughts on what you saw today or some ideas about what you'd like to see in the future. Next time, as I said, we will probably head for the Ender Dragon. And I will see you then. Have a great day. Talk to you later.